Video announcements can be a great way to free up service time and focus on what really matters in your worship experience. That is, of course, if they're not too long. So what is too long? Well, in this video, I'm gonna share with you the perfect length for church video announcements. Well, hey there, I'm Brady Shearer from ProChurchTools.com, helping you seize the 167 hours beyond your Sunday service. We publish new videos every single week, so make sure you hit the subscribe button below, and if you like this video, give it a like as well. Video announcements, something that I've been doing for a very long time. I've worked with literally hundreds of churches producing their video announcements from scratch. And yes, it's kind of a weird skill to have, but hopefully it's going to allow me some expertise that I can pass on to you. Video announcements can be great because they take the announcements portion of your church service, the overlooked, often neglected, unenjoyable chunk of service time where Pastor Sheila walks on stage and painstakingly drudges through the church's upcoming events. Video announcements can take that portion of service and make it a lot shorter and more enjoyable. It's not uncommon for churches to begin using video announcements and immediately reclaim 10 minutes of service time or more each and every week. Now think about that for a moment. What would you do with 10 extra minutes of service time every week? Count that up over 52 weeks in a year, and you've got almost 9 extra hours. That's the power of video announcements. Focus less on boring announcements, focus more on worship, preaching, prayer, community, etc. So let's talk about the perfect length of church video announcements. If you're scripting out your video announcements word for word and using a teleprompter like we do, the most precise way to keep your video announcements to a reasonable length is to keep your script between 300 and 500 words. This is what we recommend to the churches that we work with. In fact, if you are a church that works with us over at provideoannouncements.com, you'll actually see a word count in the top right corner of your screen as you fill out your video announcements form each week to keep you aware of how long your script actually is. Of course, if you're not scripting your announcements word for word, another gauge to make sure that your announcements are not going to run too long is to keep the final video less than 3 minutes. I've found 120 seconds to be the true sweet spot, but remember, the whole point of video announcements is to keep your in-service promotions short, sweet, and enjoyable. And trust me when I say that when video announcements drag on longer than 3 minutes, they become increasingly frustrating. In fact, there's an entire website dedicated to bad church announcements, video announcements in particular. One of the cardinal sins of almost every edition of video announcements that are on this website is that they are way too long. Other considerations to make when it comes to keeping your announcements short and sweet is to make sure that your video intro, the intro before your announcements actually begin, is super quick. I recommend keeping it to 5 seconds or less, but I frequently see intros that stretch to 15 and 20 seconds with some fancy animation, and it's truly just a waste of time, especially if your congregation has to sit through that same extended intro week after week after week. Of course, if you're having trouble keeping your video announcements short simply because you have too many announcements that are coming in from pastors and staff and others, one way to trim that down is to create a rule of thumb for what deserves to be an announcement on a Sunday in the first place and what does not. An easy rule of thumb to put into place in your church is that if your announcement does not apply to 50% or more of the people in attendance during service, it doesn't get announced from stage or put in a video during a service. We use this at our church and it works splendidly. There are so many other ways to get announcements and information out to your congregation beyond Sunday. Not everything deserves to be announced to everyone. So to recap, keep your video announcement script between 300 and 500 words. Keep your final video below 3 minutes, right around 2 minutes is the perfect sweet spot. And remember, for every announcement that you add above and beyond that 3-minute mark, not only will that announcement be less effective than it could and should be, but every announcement that came before that one will also suffer. Brevity is your friend. If you liked this video, make sure you hit the like button below and definitely subscribe to the Pro Church Tools channel. We publish new videos like this one every single week, helping your church seize the 167 hours beyond your Sunday service. In fact, do me a favor, hit the little church bell just below this video. That way, you'll never miss a thing and get a new notification every time we publish a new video. If you have questions or comments, also leave those below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.